Welcome, beloved, to my diary. I'm Tatami, and today I want to introduce my new hairstyle as well as talk a bit about the politics of black hair. Because black hair is political, right? It's codified into law. It's not something that you'll find for other races. There aren't laws that you can go through and be like, oh, yeah, this was the time that like white people had to wear their hair a certain way just to walk down the street to the store. You can find that for black people. It's been a very serious issue for hundreds of years at this point. One of the main laws that really comes to mind for a lot of people in the black community is definitely the Tignon laws, in which the King of Spain noticed that in Louisiana, where you could buy your freedom, a lot of black folks were buying their freedom, and a lot of interracial marriage was happening. They were having a lot of kids, they were having a lot of freedoms, and people were doing their hair, and it was amazing. People were putting like feathers, jewels, like it was extravagant, it was opulent, it was beautiful. It was what they, as kind of the thing I think of when people say the ancestors' wildest dreams. I think of things like that. Like, I don't think of like studying hard and becoming a doctor. No, I think about like relaxing. I think about like doing yourself and something beautiful, smelling good and having those beautiful treasures that they weren't able to have before when they were enslaved. And so when I think of all of these black and biracial women, Creole, mulatto, whatever they were called back then, the when I think of them all taking that pride in their crowns and just adorning it with jewels, I just think of how like beautiful that is and how special that was and how freeing that was for these people. And of course, they were competing with some women who were kind of the same old in that community, aka white women, and white men were not having it. The Spaniard king was not having it. And so he wrote to the governor of Louisiana and was like, basically, like, you need to fix this because these women can't compete out here with these women out here acting like, you know, however they want to act. So he wrote a law, and it was the Tignon laws. And basically, you had to cover your hair to be able to go out anywhere. Fast forward, we have, another hair thing that people remember about black people is in the 60s and 70s when people started like black power wearing their big fros. And this wasn't just because it was like my black is beautiful, I can own who I am as a black person, which is wonderful, but it was also a revolutionary standpoint. Like, I'm here, you will see me as I am, I will not change for you, and you should not be able to discriminate on me because of how I look. That was a really big part of it. And the civil rights movement, the Civil Rights Act, while it still helped, obviously, the community, it was still left up to the mostly white court system to decide what was discrimination and what wasn't. And even when people were found to be discriminated against, it was mostly seen as like this little isolated incident. Oh, oops. But it wasn't something that was spread across the entire country. So in the 70s, there was someone named Beverly. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to look at her name. I took a note here. Beverly Jenkins had to sue Blue Cross because they specifically told her, her white supervisor specifically told her she was skipped over for a promotion that she was overly qualified for because she had an afro. So they gave it to a white person. So she sued, and they said, yeah, the Civil Rights Act does cover discrimination about your race. But then they decided that this did not extend protections to the whole nation, right? It didn't extend these rights to everybody. So Beverly won her suit against Blue Cross, but I maybe it was because it wasn't to the Supreme Court. I'm not super familiar, but I'm pretty sure I know for a fact it wasn't spread to the rest of the country, which means I'm pretty sure it didn't reach the Supreme Court because she managed to win. But at any rate, the other one I want to go to is modern days. Only 8 states in this country, starting with California and a few others followed, have laws against discrimination for hair in particular, which apparently is necessary. Apparently, people are able to still discriminate if you have locks. They are able to discriminate if you have braids even. I know the military even, you're still not allowed to have locks that aren't like micro locks. They need to be like the tiny ones. And then you're usually able to use those because they can be like put up in a certain way. So at any rate, black hair is politics. It was politics long before I was born. It's just kind of how it is. And then comes along little old me, and I've had my hair short for most of my childhood. I did. Not childhood, sorry, should I say. My hair was very long up until I was about 12 years old. And for various reasons, partly because of the sexual abuse I was receiving, partly because I had anxieties about my blackness and my Latina side because I was adopted by white people and I just didn't see myself anywhere I was around. So I would just overthink things. It wasn't even like I didn't dislike it. I loved it. But my anxiety came from the fact that I felt like I had nowhere to reach out to. I was like, I'm going to be let out at 18 and I'm going to be a goddamn mess. That was a lot of my fears. So I kept my hair short. I thought I looked like Diana Ross. No one ever said that once to me. I assure you, no one ever said that to me, even though that the Wiz Diana Ross was exactly the look I was going for. I did a couple times get Halle Berry and had to check people like, we don't have the same hair type. We don't look the same. You're reaching. You're reaching. People should stop reaching. Anyways, about 2009 was my last like buzz into a little fro, and then about 2010 is when I moved in with my now husband, and I remember him just casually being like, why don't you just try and grow it out? I was like, okay, you know what, I'm an adult, I can do this. I used to have chronic fears about not being able to run a comb through my hair because I thought that's what you needed to be able to do. So it was like, I felt like I was coming into something where I'd be able to learn my hair. And that's what I did for about a decade. I have had the waist length hair since since my twins were born. And that was almost 6 years ago now. And I, have been feeling more and more resentful. I've been feeling more and more like, it's taking too much of my time, it's taking too much of my effort, and for what? Because the reality is the further I get, the longer my hair got, the less it was staying in styles, the less it was doing what I wanted it to do. I would be spending 2-3 hours detangling, another hour or two styling, and then even after styling, sometimes I'd be looking at it like, what was this? What did I just spend hours on? 2-3 days later, it's like, did I just spend that time? And then it's just a desperate hope to stay detangled so I can at least have a break for a little while from my hair before the next time. But then now I'm already thinking about the next time. I'm thinking about, what if somebody drops by? What do I do? Which head wraps do I have at any locations? Maybe I should just keep my bonnet on all day. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that. I made a video like last year or so where it was like, oh, your waist length, now what? And I think people thought it was going to be positive, but it was not positive. I was not happy. I was like, I'm not getting paid for this. I have no benefits for this. I'm just lost in a sea of hair that takes so much time to take care of. It's hard at this point. And so, I tried the braid locks for a year. I've tried various other things, but the reality is I can't afford to be experimenting. I tried the yarn hair, but I can't afford to really experiment. I can't afford to get like wigs. My hair's too long anyways for wigs. At any rate, if I put it in a bun back here, there's going to be a bump in the wig. I can't be doing that. I can't afford to go get it done monthly. I can't afford to go get a style like Sister Locks, which I would have loved. I think that would have been cute. I think I would have pulled that off. But I can't afford to do that because I can't do it. I can't do that all on my own head. I've done it. I've done locks on other people's heads. I've done everybody else's hair. I just know my limits. And I'm like, I can't keep that up, especially if I get depressed, tired, overwhelmed, all these types of things. It's just going to become a mess. I'm going to postpone it. It's going to become a mess. I'm going to end up with like chunks with little tiny locks coming out of them. I can't afford to do it. I can't afford to hire somebody. So it just got to this point where I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to shave this all off? Am I going to get a relaxer, texturizer, something to make this more manageable? What's the other plan? That's when locks came back on my, radar. And I quickly associated all of the smaller, more manicured locks with the Sister Locks thing. I can't, I won't, I don't want to. It's just going to be the same thing that I've been going through where I'm just frustrated and it's all piling up on me and I don't know what else to do. So I found the Freeform Locs. I found that, and that's when I really started, I was pulled in by the fact that a lot of these people, they were just like, it was just blasé. It was like, yeah, I've got hair. And I was like, I want that. I want that. Where I'm okay with how I look. I'm not obsessed with holding myself up to these certain Eurocentric standards, which I have to admit I was doing for a long time. I would try to do, my own natural hair out without like doing special twists, twist outs, braid outs, all those things. And if that would get knotted quickly, the braid outs and stuff would not last very well. And it was just like a lot of things. And I was like, I can't keep experimenting. So I decided to just go for it. Like September 4th, I was like, whatever, we're going to detangle, and that's going to be it. It's going to be it. And that's what I did. And it wasn't until afterwards that I realized I reclaimed my time. I reclaimed, because it wasn't just all those hours I spent detangling or styling. It was all those hours I spent obsessing about it, worrying about how my hair looks right now. What am I going to do then? What do I have to do with the kids while I spend those hours detangling? What do I have to do with that? What am I going to cook for those days? Blah, 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 blah. It was just sad. It was just sad when I realized how much time I'd been spending. It was like time I hadn't realized I had. Now time to spend with my kids, time to spend on my art. Like, if I died tomorrow, I'd be super upset if I didn't make any more art than what I've already made. Like, I'd be upset. But now I've got more time to be doing that. Now I've got more time for those things. And then it's like on top of that, let me look at my notes. I had to become okay with not looking perfect. That was a huge one. I was like caught up in this whole thing, and I realized some of that was other people projecting on me. And I realized a lot of other people's opinions projected on me were rooted in colorism, in texturism, and anti-blackness. And some of it was like pro-black people I know. So it was like, it was a lot to come to grips with. My brain has been going through so many different things because I've been realizing how much I've been catering to other people's standards, which are based in colonizer standards. And I was like, I'm done. And then as time went on, I realized I liked it. I like waking up every day and like not knowing who I'm going to see in the mirror, what's going to change. Like this one used to be kind of down here and hanging, but now it's kind of decided it's going to maybe jumble with this one. Like it's fun to have the 6. It's or 7. There's a guy back here. 8, I guess, if I count this one, even though he's joining up. But it's like, it's fun. It's fun to not know. And so that's like part of the reason also I'm making the video, is so that I can share that kind of weird realization I'm coming to, where I don't want to look like that anymore. I'm okay with looking like this. I'm okay with coming to this whole thing where it's not something I'm familiar with. It's not something I'm seeing on every which person. In fact, Freeform Locs, no matter how much you look it up, you're not going to find somebody with locks like yours. I found a few men with locks similar to mine, but it's rare to find a woman who has such big chunky locks and actually freeformed from the beginning. She didn't twist them. She didn't try to manicure them in any way. All that happened with my hair was it split up into these, and occasionally, I think it was maybe 2 months ago, I went in the shower and separated each one, made sure they were each separate so that I wouldn't end up with one huge lock. And that's the most maintenance I've done, besides, washing my hair weekly. I did want to round up by also speaking about my husband, because I know that I am married. I've been with the same man since we were 15, and I'm sure people are like, okay, so what does he think of it? He hated it. He hates it with a passion. In fact, he's had a few interventions on me since I started, like interventions where he's tried to come at me this way or that way, different little ideas. And I had to be firm. I had to be like, no, look, I've been saying I've been overwhelmed. I've been saying I've been like tired of it. I've been saying that it was too much. I've been begging for help for a lot of things, and you kind of been putting it off. And then now that I've made this choice, you're like, oh, well, what should I do? But the thing is, he ain't done nothing different. It's not like he suddenly started trying to help out, make sure I had extra time to do my hair. He ain't. So it's like, it looks like you've chosen this along with me. And further, I like it. So that was kind of your mistake, was I was willing to trudge along for years. And then now I found something I enjoy thoroughly, and I'm not about to let it go. I'm not about to switch back. Hell no. And I didn't say anything about it. I just remained calm and firm and heard him out. And then, like, a month or so ago, he was just kind of like, yeah, I'm here for you. I'm here to support you. I think it's because it's starting to actually look like something. You can kind of see the vision of what will happen in a few years when they're all hung down with gravity, and they get a bit longer. There's some kind of pull to it because it's all just shrinking and shrinking and shrinking into itself, into these dense little biscuits. But it's just kind of is what it is. Like, I've had to come to the realization that I'm finding new ground, and I hope through my journey other people can find new ground too, for their hair, for their culture, for their lifestyle, against colonization, for that revolutionary thing that our elders and ancestors were doing back in the 60s, when it was shocking to see somebody come out with their full-on fro, or even the jerry curl. I'm sure for some people was like, oh, oh, we doing all this now. And so it's just like, I think it excites people. I think it's cool. All my friends love it. They're all like, oh my gosh, you look like the artist we envisioned you as. They silly as hell. They are silly. But I was gonna put some, twist some pretty colors and put some little cute things and put some beads. They're called like lock sprinkles, and put some dangly things in the bottom. But I was like, wait, let me make a video first, just natural, how it is, how it's going. Hello, hello. And just share with you all, because you guys have been so wonderful and friendly with me all this time. And I so much appreciate it. And I so much appreciate all of you. So at any rate, say nice things or don't. I'm not too concerned about it. If I can go through my own husband being concerned about my hair, which I've kept my hair for him for a decade. So I feel like, I'm like, did you think I was just going to do my hair how you like for what, 60 years, however long we plan to live together? No, sir. You're going to have to live with it how it is. And I think it's going to end up fine, because I feel great. I feel happy. I feel rejuvenated. And I think my hair is beautiful. And I really love Freeform Locs. How you doing? All right, beloved. That's how I'm going to end this. Peace and blessings. May your ancestors and spirit guides be with you at every crossroads, and I will see you next time.